Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this particular story today is about the United Way, which is a company that its mission is to help the underserved and people that are in need. It's a nonprofit organization, as we all know, and this story has a cautionary tale, and this is about enlightenment about vendors. So many for-profit and nonprofit companies use vendors. And what is a vendor? Well, sometimes you outsource jobs that are not curtailed inside your company to companies outside, like a consultant, a vendor. You may use someone from the outside to help your company and its welfare on the inside. And many of these companies are called vendors. So if you have some, in this particular story, there's a guy who worked for the United Way in IT, information technology, and he created a fake vendor and created invoices. And the company, the vending company, was actually his company. So he's double dipping. There's a conflict of interest in this, and he stole millions of dollars. And as I've said to you all before, the feds are going to be busy. Our federal government, our FBI, Homeland Security, with corporate companies, nonprofit companies, the entertainment industry, pandemic relief funds for those who have forged invoices for fake shell companies. There are going to be a lot of people getting in a lot of trouble. And this is one guy who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar and stole millions from the United Way, a nonprofit organization that's here to help the underserved. So let's go. Federal jury convicts Imran Alrai in connection with a financial scheme to steal approximately, hold your seat, $6.7 million from the United Way. And he worked for the United Way. After a 2-week trial, a Windham man was convicted by a federal jury for wire fraud and money laundering in connection with his ownership of an information technology IT company that contracted with United Way of Massachusetts Bay and Merrimack Valley United Way, while being employed by the United Way. So he's double dipping. United States Attorney Jane E. Young announces Imran Alrai, 50 years old, was convicted of 12 counts of wire fraud and 6 counts of money laundering. United States District Court Judge Joseph Lanty ordered Alrai detained pending sentencing, which is scheduled for January 17, 2025. The jury's swift verdict in this case underscores the overwhelming evidence presented at trial of Mr. Alrai's guilt, said U.S. Attorney Jane E. Young. Over the past 2 weeks, prosecutors skillfully untangled the web of the defendant's deceit, highlighting for the jury how he used his position of trust to rig and maintain a major contract with United Way in favor of a company he owned and controlled. The United Way lost millions to the defendant, and we hope the jury's verdicts in this case is a step forward for their community. Mr. Imran Alrai abused his position of trust with the United Way of Massachusetts Bay and Merrimack Valley to steal millions of dollars to which he knew he wasn't entitled. Money that was intended to help the less fortunate in our area. Instead, he used it to pay off his house and increase his personal wealth, said Jody Cohen, special agent in charge of the FBI Boston Division. The FBI is grateful for the jury's swift verdict, and we will not hesitate to investigate and bring to justice anyone engaged in such egregious financial fraud. Between 2012 and June 2018, Mr. Alrai, an IT professional at the United Way, obtained approximately $6.7 million in payments for IT services supposedly provided to United Way by an independent outside contractor. Remember, independent outside contractor, but the company was his company called Digital Net Technology Solutions. Alrai misrepresented material facts about Digital Net and fraudulently concealed that he owned and controlled Digital Net. So he owned and controlled this vendor company. But he works for the United Way. So he's getting a salary from the United Way as an upper executive. And then he creates this shell company, this vendor company called Digital Net Technology. And he's having United Way pay his company that United Way is not aware of that he owns almost $7 million. In early 2013, Alrai rigged the bidding process for a major contract to provide managed IT services at the United Way so that Digital Net was chosen. Alrai then gave fake references and false information about Digital Net to United Way. For the next 5 years, while serving as United Way's vice president for IT services, he's the vice president, Alrai steered additional IT work to Digital Net so that his company soon became United Way's second largest outside vendor, second largest, receiving more than $1 million annually. Alrai concealed his connection with Digital Net from his colleagues. He routinely sent emails with attached invoices from a fictitious person to himself at United Way. Now remember, this is the vice president of IT. After the fraud came to light in June 2018, officials at the United Way confronted Mr. Alrai and terminated him. Federal agents executed search and seizure warrants and seized incriminating documents and data from Mr. Alrai's home office in Windham, as well as approximately $2.2 million in fraud proceeds in bank and investment accounts. During the scheme, Mr. Alrai wired $1.2 million in fraud proceeds to a Digital Net bank account in Lahore, Pakistan. According to expert testimony at the trial, United Way lost at least $3.5 million as a result of Digital Net's excessive billing, duplicate billing, and billing for services not delivered. Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, led the investigation. The Internal Revenue Service provided valuable assistance. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Charles Rambo and John J. Kennedy are the prosecutors on the case. So what does that all tell you? And look at the alphabet groups that are involved in this particular case: the FBI, Homeland Security, and IRS. And generally, when you have thefts and schemes, shell companies like this, where you're stealing from for-profit or non-profit companies, the FBI and the IRS are going to be right there together. So you're talking about tax evasion, you're talking about theft at a high level, and they are going to make an extreme example of this man, not only for the amount of money he stole, but how he crafted this, double dipping, creating this shell company. And also they're going to make an example of him because he stole from the United Way, which is a nonprofit company that is here, that was put together to help the less fortunate. How egregious could that be? So he will not get any sympathy or empathy from the court or from the jurors as a result of this particular situation. He stole millions of dollars that could have been allocated to the less fortunate, which is what is part of the United Way's mission statement. And he did that to benefit himself with paying off his home, buying a bunch of material goods, and he's put aside his moral and ethical code or standard to steal from the United Way. And this gentleman was the vice president of IT. He is in upper management. And if the leaders at the top are not doing the right thing, especially at a nonprofit, what does that say for the overall moral code or moral value of that company? He made the United Way his own little piggy bank, and he got his hand caught in the cookie jar. What an unfortunate scenario. Tell me what you think. The level of greed and hubris that's out here today, getting the bag by any means necessary, and we're seeing this whether you are an uneducated person or a highly educated person. Our moral turpitude and our moral values have gone straight out of the window for many of us. And he was in a leadership position where he should have been leading and helping the United Way in a positive way. And he decided to have the United Way be his own personal piggy bank. And he's going to have to pay the piper, the judge, the state, and of course our U.S. government for this callousness and this egregious behavior of a high disregard for what the mission of the United Way was all about by creating this shell company, Digital Net Technology, that was his company. He's signing invoices to funnel millions of dollars into his own company that the United Way was not aware of. Thank God that these companies have an auditing system where they can finally catch up with this, or that 6 million could have turned into 60 million. Tell me what you think about this egregious behavior. In the shell company that he created, there was a conscious effort in his desire to steal. He did this over a 6 or 7 year period before he got caught. And how much time do you think he should get in prison? This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.